Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor, which is due unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, the great most honorable well, and lead the flock by example. Double honors to you, and shalom to the elect of Yahweh Shai, the elect of Israel, starting with 144,000. And it's the brother Napash from the GMS UK branch, and I'm just coming back to you with another lesson. Lord willing, it's an edifying one. So today, man, I wanted to just touch upon Revelation 6 and 6. There was at work today, where I work, it was our manager's birthday, and they were born in 1982. And what one of our colleagues did is they posted some interesting facts about 1982, and some of the things that they were posting was like how much like a pint of milk cost, for example, at that time, or a pint of beer. And it got me thinking about the devaluing of currency. It got me thinking about inflation and so on and so forth, and hyperinflation, and how that's in the scriptures. So I'm going to go into that, Lord willing, in this lesson, and Lord willing, it's edifying. So this is Revelation chapter 6 verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Alright. Now the bit I want to focus on is a measure of wheat for a penny and the 3 measures of barley for a penny. Right? Now let's go into this word, penny. And it'll say denarion, which is basically the denarii, the currency that was used at the time of our Lord in the Roman Empire. Okay? Right? So that's what it's talking about. Now, if I go to let's get this in the NLT. So let's go Revelation 6 and 6 NLT. Right, Revelation 6 and 6 in the New Living Translation. And I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine. Now, it said a day's pay. And pretty much, that penny it's talking about, denarius, equates to a day's pay. So what that's talking about is inflation and hyperinflation. Because if it's going to take a day's wage to get a measure of wheat, okay, then, you're basically getting a lot less for what you're putting in. You're working all day in a hard graft to get that, Now, I typed in how much was a quart of wheat. It says in the Bible, Revelation 6 and 6 describes a quart of wheat being sold for a denarius, which was roughly equivalent to a day's wage in the 1st century. Alright? Now, let's go from there to this. The value of a denarius. A denarius would be pay for a skilled, which the definition varies on that, laborer for 1 day. Okay? And then it goes on some other things, but pretty much that's the main thing I wanted to get from that. So, now, I mentioned that my manager was born in 1982, and there was some interesting facts that came out about it. So check this out, right? This is a cost in the UK, right? In 1982, a litre of petrol cost 36 pence. Right now, it's been much higher before, closer to £2 per litre. Right now, petrol is at about, I'd say most places are between 130 to 135 to 145. So £1.35 to £1.45, which is, what's that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 times more than what it was in 1982. Okay, and why is that? Because the purchasing power, obviously you have loads of factors with war and trade and things of that nature, supply and demand. But the purchasing power of the pound sterling is much lower, okay, due to inflation. It says a white loaf of bread costs 37 pence. You can't get bread for that. I remember when I was in education, Okay, this is going back to what? How long ago was that now? So this had to be like 2008. You know, around about the time of the financial crisis that happened. So what we're looking at that was about what, 16? I got the maths right? Yeah, 16 years ago. 16 years ago, the cheapest bread you could get like 20p bread and things like that. Okay, this is probably like a better brand. Most brands are like £1 or more, but you can get like it was like the basics brand. Okay, the cheap stuff. Okay, but now you can't even get that. You know, the cheapest stuff is like 70, like double that and onwards. That's the cheapest brand. It's not even like a good brand name one. Okay, a pint of pasteurized milk costs 20 pence. Now it's like £1 something. Okay, again, it's like 3-4 times it, man. A pint of beer costs 73p. You go into a pub now and you order a pint of beer. What you're gonna get is, you know, you're probably gonna have to pay like anywhere from £2.50 upwards. Okay, so why is that? The purchasing power again has gone down for the pound sterling, man. It's a weaker currency, and that is what these elites are doing. They're weakening the currencies. Okay, that's all part of their agenda, right? You got something called inflation and hyperinflation. Now you had people in Venezuela, right? Let's see. Hold on, Venezuela, buckets of money. These pictures show just how much cash Venezuelans needed to buy even basic goods. All right, because you had hyperinflation going on there. So to buy chicken, you had to have that, man. Look at that. Now, if you had that in like dollars or pound sterling, right, and it was like, I don't know, like I'll use pounds. Let's say they were all like £20 notes. That's a lot of money. Okay. I mean, you'd have to put that in like that. That wouldn't even, would that even all fit in a bag? You'd have to get like a big duffel bag or a wheelbarrow or something to carry that just to get a chicken. And that's what, you know, inflation can do. So when we look at the scripture, basically it's talking about inflation, because what you're getting, all right, for your money is far less. Okay. In 2 Kings, the 7th chapter, you got kind of the reverse of that. Okay. And I'll read it in let's go to the blue letter. Let's go to 2 Kings 7. Alright, I'm gonna just touch on this and I'll get back to the point of the inflation, just to give you an example of how, you know, this is like economy, right? 2 Kings 7:1. Then Elisha said, "Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel in the gate of Samaria." Then the Lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, "Behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be?" And he said, "Behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof." And there were 4 leprous men at the entering into the gate, that they said one to another, "Why sit we here until we die? If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here," because that's what was going on, right, at the time, "and if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die." And they rose up in the twilight to go into the camp of the Syrians. And when they would come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had made the host of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses, which is the chariots of the Lord, UFOs, if we to understand, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, "Lo, the king of Israel have hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us." So they were worried a big army was coming against them. "Therefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life." Meaning there was a loads of spoils left over. "And when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again and entered into another tent and carried thence also, and went and hid it." Now, I just want to make this point, right? You got all this man-made famines, you got hyperinflation going on. So while all this is happening, which is leading towards the chip, Okay, financial collapse, chip, which the mark of the beast, right? You might be thinking, well, how are we going to be looked after? It's the same way, even though the prices are rising now, we're being looked after, man. Brothers can see that right now, okay? Even in this time, right? This is Isaiah 65 and 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So we're going to be looked after in that day, all right? And it's funny when you read in this account, right? When I was reading this account, what I was thinking about is the Lord can actually make it where you're walking through, let's say you're walking through a town, and then there's a door open of a house. Okay, you look inside, there's no one there. You walk in, there's no one in the house, but it's packed to the brim with things to eat and drink, man. Okay, because the Lord actually made that family, whoever it is, have to run out due to some kind of emergency, man. Okay, they could have had apparitions, they could have had all sorts, people trying to attack them, whatever. Okay, and the Lord can do that, man. So that's what I was kind of thinking when I was reading this, right? On a smaller scale, I guess. Then they said one to another, we do not well. This day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. So they came and called unto the port of the city, and they told them, saying, we came to the camp of the Syrians, and behold, there was no man there, neither voice of man, but horses tied and asses tied, and the tents as they were. Okay, which is a lot of possessions. They mentioned gold and silver, so there was a lot of riches there, man. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king's house within. And the king arose in the night and said unto his servants, I will now show you what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we be hungry, therefore are they gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, when they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive and get into the city. And one of his servants answered and said, Let some take, I pray thee, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city. Behold, there is all the multitude of Israel that are left in it. Behold, I say they are even as all the multitude of the Israelites that are consumed. And let us send and see. They took therefore 2 chariot horses, and the king sent after the host of the Syrians, saying, Go and see. Now the promise fulfilled, which is the prophecy made by is it Elisha? Yeah, Elisha, on the first verse. And they went after them unto Jordan, and lo, all the way was full of garments and vessels, which the Syrians had cast away in their haste. And the messengers returned and told the king. And the people went out and spoiled the tents of the Syrians. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, meaning you're getting a good deal for your money, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord. Okay, because why? Because things were real bad, man. All right. But then it got to a point where people could eat again. People could, look after each other again, So this is like an example of, how supply, demand, and different things can affect, resources, man. And we're seeing that when you look at the news and you follow what Esau's doing, the guy's damn near flying planes into food factories, man. Okay. So we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. These things are being orchestrated. Okay, there's a famine coming. All right, scriptures talk about that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read 2 Ezra 16 and verse 21. It says, Behold, victuals shall be so good and good cheap upon earth. Okay, food. Things that are that you're going to use. All right. Hey, even there was a time when it's cheap. Even now, there's certain things that are cheap. Okay, but it's going to get to a point where you're going to be suffering things like this. All right, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So basically, man, that's what's coming. Okay, that's the time that we're going into. But like I read to you in Isaiah 65, we're going to be looked after. Okay, and I gave you the example in 2 Kings 7 how the Lord can make many situations where you can be looked after, where you can be okay. All right, the prophecy states, man, it states that we're going to be looked after. It's written that my servants shall eat, okay, and drink. So, hey, we're going to be looked after, man. So we don't have to worry. Okay, all these people that are worrying right now, okay, in this kingdom, we don't have to worry, man, because ultimately we're going to be looked after by the Heavenly Father and His Son. And, when they bring this chip out, okay, we are, as we do now anyway, we're relying not on Esau, okay, and his system, but we're relying on Yahweh Shemiel Shai, okay? And we saw what the Lord did for Jake in the wilderness, okay? This time the Lord is dealing with His elect, okay? The help is going to come onto the elect, but the judgments are going to come onto, the 2/3 of our people and the heathen, okay? So yeah, man, this is just something I was meditating on, and Lord willing, it's an edifying lesson, just a quick one on Revelation 6:6. And remember, it says, hurt not the oil and the wine, which represents this truth, because ultimately it's this truth. Remember, Scripture say, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is His treasure. Okay, this truth is everlasting, man. Okay, so we're accruing this truth. The truth, this knowledge, wisdom, understanding is what's gonna, our faith in Yahweh Shemiel Shai is what's gonna put us through those trying times that are coming. Okay, so hey, Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson, and with that, man, I'm gonna say shalom to the elect.